Yeah, hi guys. Good morning. Thanks for joining today's demo session. My name is Ravi Kumar, and I'll be taking care of this Azure administration training. And it is a quick introduction about myself. So I have 12 years of experience in IT industry, where I do consulting, implementing, and administration of Microsoft and VMware product. In cloud services, I take care about Azure Active Directory administration, Azure administration and migration to Azure, and Office 365 implementation and migrating services to Office 365. And in on-prem, I take care about virtualization on VMware as well as Microsoft Hyper-V. And also I take care of Windows Server administration and any services running on top of it, like roles and features, I take care of it. Okay. So this is a quick introduction. Okay. So this training is about Azure administration. AZ104 is the paper code, what we are going to discuss and what we are going to learn over here. So this training is about 15 plus modules and it is 30 plus hours course content. Okay. So what are the topics we are going to learn? Try to understand now. So first thing we'll understand what is cloud computing, what are benefits of cloud computing, and what are types of cloud computing, and what is Microsoft Azure, and what are the ways you can manage Azure infrastructure. So this we will be learning in the module 1, and in module 2 we'll be learning what are the types of subscription, how do you create a subscription in Azure, so how do you manage Azure subscription, and what are Azure resource, how do you create and manage, and how do you control the resources, we will be seeing in the module 2. In module 3 we'll be learning the compute service, right? So here we will understand what is virtual machine and how do you create a virtual machine in Microsoft Azure cloud, how do you connect and manage the virtual machine, and also we'll try to understand what is ARM template, if at all if you want to automate your deployment, so how do you create the ARM templates, we will understand in the module 3. In module 4 we'll try to understand what is Azure calculator. Okay, so how do you use Azure calculator to work out with your costing perspective, means whenever you get any requirement, so how do you use your Azure calculator to get the estimated cost, so accordingly wherein you can take your call to proceed further to deploy the services. And in module 5 we'll try to understand what is Azure storage, how do you keep the data in Azure, and how do you access and manage the data in Azure, right? So we will understand the storage services in the Microsoft Azure cloud. In next module we will be understanding about the networking. Okay, so what is virtual network, how do you create the network, and how do you manage them, and how do you set up the connectivity to Microsoft Azure resources using the virtual network, and what is global VNet peer, means when you have more than one network in Azure, so how do you connect them to allow the traffic flow between the network. And also when you have your network built in the cloud, so how do you extend your connectivity from your on-prem to Azure using the VPN like point to site to site. We will see that. And also we'll be seeing the one solution, like one service, which is Azure Load Balancer. So how do you host your application on a scalability using the Azure Load Balancer? We will see that. In module 7, we will understand. So how do you control the traffic flow within your Azure network using the network security group? So with these 7 modules, wherein we'll be understanding the complete baseline of compute storage network, how do you build and manage in the Microsoft Azure. In module 8, we'll try to understand like what will be the day-to-day tasks, right? So what are the most common tasks will be come across and how do you work? What is the limitation? What you can do, what you cannot do, we will understand in the module 8. Like dealing with the virtual machine disk and dealing with the virtual machine network card and dealing with the snapshot and the images, right? So how do you deploy or capture your custom images? So these are the things what we'll be learning in the module 8. In module 9, we'll understand the high availability services. Means how do you host your virtual machine in a high availability and what are the options available like availability sets, availability zone. We will understand more that. And also we'll understand the Azure virtual machine scale set. So if you want to do a automated if you want to do a automation of your virtual machine where it can scale itself for means horizontal scaling, like the if there is a demand, the VMs will be added, and if there is no demand, the VM will be removed, so that you can save some money, and also this you can automate. Okay, and in module 10 and 11, we will be learning about the PaaS service, right? So platform as a service. We will understand what is web service and what is SQL database. Module 12 will try to understand the Azure Active Directory. Once, what is Azure AD? So how do you create and manage users and group in the Azure AD? And how do you provide permissions to your resources in Azure? And what is Azure AD Premium features? And how do you configure your custom domain, enable MFA, and how do you integrate your on-prem Active Directory with Azure AD using the AD Connect? Okay, so these are the topics. Basically, the identity and access management will be covered in the module 12. So module 13 will be covering the Azure Recovery Services, right? So what is Azure Recovery Services? How do we create or how do you protect your on-premises files and folders or on-premises virtual machine, Azure files and folders, Azure VM, right? With the help of Azure Recovery Services, we'll understand. And also we'll be understanding about the monitoring and troubleshooting your resources connectivity. Okay, so these are the 15 topics what we'll be covering in this entire training, and these are the content of AZ104 certification. Okay, yeah, any questions and doubts on the course content, please let me know. If I'm going fast or if you need more examples, you can feel free to stop and ask me anytime. Yeah, any questions so far?
Yeah, here
Yeah,
Vishal. Yeah, here we'll cover Windows VMs or Linux VMs also.
see,
Deploying
Windows, Linux.
VM images.
See, Windows and Linux is your inside operating system. Okay. So we will not be learning like how do you manage your Linux operating system or a Windows operating system. Okay. But here we will try to understand how do you create and manage your virtual machine. If at all, if you want to learn more on inside Linux, like how do you do something inside the operating system that we have to learn
At least,
separately.
at least,
Mhm.
at least you need a basic knowledge of deploying Linux VM and Nginx servers like that. So,
That we will do. See, deploying
okay.
Linux VM or Windows VM, we can do it. Okay. But if you say that how do you work with the Linux, it's a completely different topic. That's what I mean to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I'm
No worries.
asking basic.
We'll do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, any other doubts, let me know. See, apart from this content, anything you feel that okay, we want to discuss something about this topic which is related to Azure Admin, we'll do it. Okay. So this course is totally focusing on the AZ-104 certification in the sense if you want to be an Azure admin, what are the required skill will be covered over here. Okay. So anything else you require, you let me know. We will discuss. No, don't worry on that.
Yes, sir. How many days duration of this course?
Yeah, it's a 30 hours course content. So it is 30 plus hours, I can say. So we cover one
Okay.
hour a day, 5 days a week. So it will go 6 weeks. And you can add up like one more week as extra because sometime the lab may go good or not good. So that may delay. That's it. Apart from that, 30 hours is a minimum content what will be covered.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, no worries. If at all, if you have any questions now or later also, you can reach us. That's fine. Okay, I'll go to the next slide. So far we discussed like what all we are going to learn in this course. Okay. So now you might have a question saying that, okay, is it the right course content for me to start, right? So we see a lot of learning path in Microsoft Azure. So is it a right course content if I want to start as a Azure admin, or what is the next if I learn this course? What is the next course I can take, or means what I can learn next, or how I can build my career? We will understand that. Okay, so this slide is a bit old. I need to update it. That's fine. So you might have been heard about Azure fundamentals, right? So AZ 900 course you might have been heard. So AZ 900, which talks about purely about the fundamentals of Microsoft Azure. Means what is cloud, what is types of cloud, benefits of cloud, what is Azure, what are the services available in Azure, right? Complete theoretical part you will understand in the AZ 900. And AZ 900 is not a prerequisite for other course in the sense it's not a prerequisite certification that you need to be taken only then you can go next. No, AZ 900 is a optional certification. Okay, and there are two main track here. One is Azure admin and other one is a developing solution in Microsoft Azure. Means one is infrastructure management and other one is development in the Microsoft Azure. So earlier it was called AZ 103. Now the paper code is AZ 104. That is what where we'll be learning here. And to learn AZ 104, AZ 900 is not a mandatory certification, it's a optional certificate. So if you want to take the certification, you can do. Otherwise, you don't require to do the AC 900. And also about the content, the required things will be covered here, right? So with our course wherein AC 900 contents are covered, and also we'll be learning AC 104. Okay. So if at all, if you're looking on a development part, then your course content is AZ 204, which is Azure development. Like if you're looking on coding and other stuff, right? So to develop any application, so AZ 204 is the right content for you. But still, if you want to understand what is Azure, how the infrastructure is built and managed, you can take up the 104 course as well. Okay. So now, if at all, if you're looking the next level in Azure admin, right? Like architect level. So in that case, AZ 104 plus AZ 305. You can learn next AZ 305. With this, you can have the required knowledge for the Azure Solution Architect Expert. So earlier there were a couple of things you need to go. Now it's not 104 plus 305. You will achieve Azure Solution Architect Expert. Okay. If at all, if you don't want to go to architect, you are interested in Azure DevOps. So 104 plus AZ 400. So with this, you can achieve Azure DevOps Engineer Expert. Means to learn Azure DevOps, one of the prerequisites is AZ 104. Otherwise, also if you have learned AZ 204, yes, even you can learn AZ 400. With this, you can achieve the Azure DevOps Engineer Expert. So these are the two parts where you can achieve Azure DevOps Engineer Expert. Okay. Any questions on this? Okay. There are other content also like Azure Security Engineer, Azure Network Engineer. So you can learn AZ 500 directly for Azure Security. Okay. If at all, if you're looking for core networking services, then you can learn AZ 700. So there is no prerequisite for it. But still, if you want to understand the Azure infra, then you want to learn security that works good 103 plus 500. Or if you want to learn administration plus network, you can learn after 104 and 700. Even you can add up AZ 500 also, that you will understand the base infrastructure with AZ 500, sorry, 300, sorry, 104. Then you understand more on the networking on AZ 700, and also you understand the security part in the AZ 500. You can learn this. Okay, so these are the learning track in Microsoft Azure. Any questions, any doubts on this? So shall we move on? Okay, so now we have discussed what is a learning path in Microsoft Azure. So now you might have a question. Okay, I am a fresher. So is this a right track to take it up? AZ 104. Or I have experience in IT industry, like I take care of network, storage, virtualization, Windows or Linux admin. So AZ 104 is a right track or not? Or let's take example, you have IT experience in a different domain like SAP, Oracle or whatever. So now you want to switch your career as a Azure admin. Okay. Or else you have experience in non-IT domain. Now you want to switch your career as a Azure admin. Or you are a fresher. Now you want to start your career in a cloud administration, then you have choose Azure. So is it a right track? Yes, AZ 104 is a right track where you can start from the scratch. Okay, so you will understand the complete basic from the cloud till building and managing your infrastructure. Okay, all right. So now what are the prerequisites? So if I want to start Azure admin, right? So whatever the scenario we just discussed. So what is the prerequisite that I should know before I start this course, or during this course what all I need to learn additionally? Okay. So here you should have the knowledge of operating system administration and management. So just now there was a question, right? So do we discuss about the Linux or Windows? Okay. Yes. So here our job is to build the infrastructure like Windows OS, Linux OS and all. If at all, if you want to know more about the OS administration, that we need to learn separately. But still, we should have some basic operating system management, like how do you connect your Windows machine, how do you troubleshoot if there is any connectivity issue, the basic troubleshooting, and how do you connect your Linux machine, like taking SSH or whatever. So, what are the basic things if you are not able to log in inside or reach this machine? So, that basic troubleshooting or the OS administration you should be knowing. If at all, if you don't know, slowly you can start learning on it. So I can share some link. Okay, you should have a knowledge about the operating system management, and also you should be knowing about the virtualization. So what is virtualization, and what are the virtualization basic concept? Because anything in cloud we run a virtualization, 100% virtualization, but still on a back end the hardware everything will be there, that is taken care by the Microsoft or the vendor. And next thing is the cloud part, so that we will be covering, and some basics about the storage. It's good if you have some knowledge, like what is NAS, DAS, right? So all those some base concept you should be knowing it. And also you should be knowing about the basics of networking, like what is IP address, types of IPs, classes of IP, what is network router, network switch, right? Firewall, how that will be useful in a real time when you want to manage your infrastructure, that you should be knowing. Yeah, and also like you should be knowing about the virtualization, as I told you, what is virtual network, virtual machine, virtual disk, and virtual NIC, so on. So next thing is understanding of network, other concept like TCP/IP, DNS, VPN, firewalls, and encryption, right? So this you should be knowing it. And also you should be knowing about the understanding of Active Directory concepts like domains, forest, and AD forest. Now active, what is Active Directory, and what is DNS, and what is disaster recovery, what is backup, right? What is restore, in which scenario we use, and how that will help you to manage your infrastructure, right? So these are the basic thing what you should be knowing it, so you can learn during the course as well. Okay, any questions on this? Okay, if at all, if you ask me a question, okay, do I need to know a coding language or coding experience? It's not mandatory. So we will manage Azure using the graphical user interface and also with the command line. But as and when the day goes, your experience count, you may need to learn any one coding language. So that will help you where you can make your work easier and faster. Okay. So that is one prerequisite. Yeah. Any questions on the prerequisite part? Okay. So Please share your contact details, your email ID and phone number in the chat box so that the course material and the recordings will be delivered to that, and also the upcoming class details will be shared on that. Okay, so please share your phone number and email ID. Okay, I guess we don't have Sham contact details, so Sham, please share it up. All right, thank you. Fine, let's move to the next slide. So now let's say I completed this course. So what will be my day-to-day activity as a cloud admin? So Azure Administrator manage the cloud services that where we take care about the compute, storage, network, and also we will be manage the complete IT lifecycle model, like creating a services in cloud, managing the services in cloud, and updating or upgrading the infrastructure. So if you don't require anymore, you will be decommissioning it. Means entire like deploy, update, manage, and decommission entire IT lifecycle model. We will take care. And basically, we take the end user request. Means if a developer is asking, he needs some infrastructure to host his application, right? Like compute, storage, network. We take that request and we will deploy the services accordingly. And also we will be managing it, like monitoring the services, and as and when you require to upgrade or downgrade, decommission, you will be taking care. Sometimes you'll also work with the vendor like your network service provider or your application service provider to integrate your infrastructure or manage your infrastructure. And what are the ways you can manage your Azure? So you can manage your Azure using the graphical user interface, using the PowerPoint, using the browser, and also you can manage using the command line. So those are the two ways where you can manage it. As a successful cloud admin, you will be taking care of managing the VMs running on the cloud, storage, network, and other platform as a service, and also wherein you will be integrating your cloud to your on-prem as a hybrid or from one cloud to another cloud, and you will be managing it. Okay. Yeah. Any questions, any doubts on this? Okay. If at all, if you have any questions, any doubts, what we are discussing, please feel free to let us know. Okay, so now how this training runs, right? So this is a 90% practical oriented. So we will understand the theory concept and we will understand the services. Next, we will see how to deploy the service and how do we manage. So we will be running completely on the Azure portal, and also I'll be helping to create your Azure account where you can do your practicals, right? So this is how it runs. So we do a complete 90% real time scenario in this entire training. Okay. Any questions, any doubts? Okay, I'll just quickly demonstrate one lab. How do we work on it? So let's take example. You have a requirement to deploy a virtual machine in Microsoft Azure, and you want this VM to be hosted in east part of US, and you want a Windows Server 2016 with 2 CPU, 8 GB RAM. So you get a requirement like this. So when you get such requirement, so you will be deploying it. So I'll show you how to deploy in Azure portal and how do you connect and manage it. Okay, so that you get some idea. So let me log into the Azure portal. Okay, so this is a real-time portal, and we will discuss like what is VM and other properties. Now we will deploy it. Okay, so let me create a resource group. So we will be discussing more when we go to the lab. So here I'll be running an brief overview. How do you deploy a service? Okay. So I'll say this is my test lab. Okay, so this is not a simulation, this is a real-time lab. And this is a free trial what I'm working on it. So the same way even I'll be helping to create your accounts. So now I want to deploy a virtual machine. I will search for a virtual machine and I go to virtual machine console in Azure portal and I'm going to create a virtual machine here. So I'm going to deploy a web server in the west east part of US. Okay. So let me select the resource group and also this is my web server. Okay. We'll be discussing each and every properties of this service. Okay. So for now, I'll just quickly run through it. So I'll select what is the operating system I want. Okay. So this we will discuss more when we go to the virtual machine topic. So here I'll just show you how to create a one service, which is VM, and how do you connect this. Okay. I'll select what is the hardware configuration I want. Okay. We'll choose other properties. So this each properties we will understand and you will choose a configuration as per your requirement. Then what you do, you click on deploy. So that is the reason I said you to learn Azure admin, there is no prerequisite. Okay, means you need not to be an expert in virtualization or storage or network or compute. If you know the basic Windows Server operating system management and learn 104, you will be able to manage it. I'm going to say Windows or Linux administration, the basics you should be knowing. So this is how you put your request on a portal. So this is one way where you can manage through the browser, or if you want to manage through the command line, you can do it using PowerShell or a shell command. So that is not mandatory, but still, if you learn any one programming language, as and when day goes, you can make your work easier and faster. So you can see the VM is deploying on top of a Hyper-V virtualization in a backend. So this is taken care by the vendor and we don't worry about that. So now you can see the virtual machine is getting deployed. So once this is deployed, sorry. So once this VM is deployed, so how do you connect? The same way, how do you connect in your on premises, either running on a physical or virtual? Same way you can take it, like taking a RDP or SSH, no difference. Okay, so the VM is deployed now here. So this is the IP address of the machine. So in on-prem Windows machine, how do you take? You take a remote desktop connection. Same way, you can access the VM running in the Azure. So I have an application, Microsoft Remote Desktop. So I will access this VM using this application. Okay. So already the username password is saved here. I'll just put the IP address and I will connect. So you can see the connection is getting established. So this is how where you can deploy the services in the cloud. And once you log in, so from here, whoever has been requested, they will take care about installing any application on top of it or manage it. Okay. Yeah. Any questions, any doubts so far? Okay. Just be online. I'll be back in a minute. Okay. Be online. Okay, I'm back. All right. Any questions, any doubts so far? Okay, I'll just hold on here. If at all, if you have any questions, any doubts, you can ask me. No questions? Okay. If at all, if you have any doubt, any questions, anytime, you can reach us so we can discuss on that. Okay. Okay. All right then. So if you don't have any questions, thanks for your time. We'll connect back. If you have any doubt, any question, you can reach us anytime. Okay.